Alright, what up, my faithful few? This is Karen from Tina and Karen's Do the Tube. Alright. And I want to respond to this article we got here. It's from The Blaze. Oregon State Police declare unlawful assembly as anti-lockdown protesters stormed Capitol building to try to disrupt a special session. Demonstrators chanted "Arrest Kate Brown" as they broke doors to the building. Legislators met to vote on coronavirus-related bills. All right. Where do I even begin? First off, for clarification, Kate Brown is the governor of Oregon. And it doesn't seem that the state of Oregon is taken very kindly to her lockdown measures, which she apparently extended from January 2nd to March 3rd. The lockdowns will continue. Fox News reported that Reopen Oregon protest occurred during a single-day session where legislators met on to vote on coronavirus-related measures. According to Oregon Public Broadcasting, the Oregon State Police declared an unlawful assembly as a growing number of protesters pushed their way through the Capitol doors chanting "Let us in" and "Arrest Kate Brown." Police officers donned gas masks as they squared off with protesters, some of whom carried firearms and bear spray, and many of whom were not wearing masks. Among the protesters were members of Patriot Prayer, a far-right group based in Vancouver, Washington, that attracts white supremacists and has engaged in violence. Okay, before we even get into the details, the idea that Patriot Prayer is I'm not going to comment too much about Patriot Prayer. The idea that they're white supremacists, I don't think that's true. I don't know enough about them, though, to comment one way or the other. But I assume a lot of the people in the Oregon Public Broadcasting would probably be the same kind of people who would say Proud Boys are a white supremacist group, which is ridiculous because the leader of the white supremacist group is a black Cuban. Fucking ridiculous. They just like to throw those words out as buzzwords, so don't even pay too much attention to them. No one takes these people seriously anymore. I mean, what was it like? Trust in our media is at an all-time low, which is a problem. It's a problem. No one trusts our media anymore. Our disseminators of information. That's going to be a real problem. But to be honest, the trust isn't unwarranted. It's the natural consequence of being lied to for a number of years. And I could probably do a whole video about the lies that the media have perpetuated. And I would love to do that. But also currently on the side, I'm working on a video review of Jingle All the Way, which I think is an underrated Christmas classic. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Turbo Man, amazing stuff. I want to be doing videos about that. I want to be doing videos about Voltaire. I want to be doing videos responding to the arguments made by these sort of Enlightenment thinkers. But instead, I am here talking about lockdowns. So what are my thoughts on lockdowns? So in a recent episode of Tina and Karen Do the Two, I got into a little spat with Tina. I might upload our argument in a separate video later on. I still have the audio, so I could. But I didn't upload it in this most recent podcast because it didn't fit the overall tone of our broadcast, of our more lighthearted, fun podcast. It took a weird, dark turn. And that's because I feel very passionately against the lockdowns. I can sum up my thoughts about coronavirus thusly. It's a threat to certain groups. It is real. It's not a hoax. Anyone telling you it's a hoax is giving you fake news. Anyone telling you that your life is in danger is also probably spewing a little bit of fake news, to be quite honest. We know that the mortality rate for people under the age of 65 is something like 0.2% of people, which is inflated by the number of people who are also gravely sick. So my thoughts about the coronavirus could be summed up very simply. Wear your mask, social distance, avoid large gatherings, but other than that, go about your life. One of the things I personally abhor about these lockdowns is it sort of like removes the idea of personal risk assessment. We take away that freedom and that sort of cognitive rationing of their own decisions out of the hands of the individual, put in the hands of the state. Now we let the state decide for us what is safe and what is not. I think that people should be allowed to make personal risk assessments. I read something in England where England people, if you get to tier 4 lockdown measures, you're not allowed to leave your home without sufficient reasoning. So if you were to get pulled over by a policeman in, say, Swindon or some other city in England, Manchester, I don't know, and they ask you, what's your business for being outside? You have to give them a reasonable reason that you're outside and not in your home. Now, I'm sure from their perspective, a reasonable reason would be I need to go get to the grocery store, I need to get food, or I need to go to the pharmacy, I need to get medicine, or I'm going to work because I'm an essential worker. To me, a reasonable explanation as to why I went outside is I wanted to go outside today. I honestly wonder what would happen if a person were to say to the policeman, I thought about killing myself if I didn't go outside today. Wouldn't that constitute a reasonable reason for going outside? That's the thing, like the idea that for the business where all the small businesses that are being affected by these lockdowns, the business is essential to the people running them, the people working at those businesses. Every job is essential. This is what pisses me off about these people. They're trying to social engineer and to create their society on their terms, what they think is essential. It takes complete onus away from the individuals making their own decisions in their lives. If I want to open up a bounce house factory, people might say, that's not essential. You don't have a right to come into work. Who's to say what's essential? And also, who are you to tell me I can't go to work? So my honest answer about the lockdowns is that they do more harm than good. The very obvious explanation of how they do more harm than good is that they have immediate economic problems for the people in them. Small businesses have to shut down. Large businesses are allowed to stay open. How does that make sense? Also, people are furloughed or they're laid off and they have to be on unemployment. And furthermore, the way we're handling this stimulus package of allowing people to basically claim more money, receive more money staying at home. I've met and talked to people who have been unemployed since the beginning of this pandemic. They're asked, why aren't you looking for a job? They told me there is no reason to look for a job because if I go work, I make less money. That's kind of a messed up thing. How are you going to basically reinvigorate the economy if people are essentially saying, I'd rather stay home? Furthermore, I can use a very personal anecdote. Now, my wife started a new job. Good for her. She's making a good income, salary and commission. She got a job that she was not qualified necessarily to do. They hired her anyway. There are businesses out there who are hiring. It'd be a great time for people looking for employment. It's a great time for people to go out there and try something new. Because the employer will wait for you. They will train you. They will be flexible with your qualifications. I've met people who say that they're going depressed because all they do is sit home all day, play video games. They have not looked for jobs. And they honestly tell me, why would I look for a job? I'm making more money sitting at home. Well, one reason is you feel like you're wasting your life. People are getting depressed out there. Deaths of despair is a real thing. But more than deaths of despair, we're in the first world. We can talk about the economic hardships of the third world. You see, first world countries, we receive a check from the government, hey, stay home. Cool. The poor countries in the third world don't have that. The poor countries in the third world are suffering major from these lockdowns that are going on in the first world based on supply chains and consumerism. Now, I'm not in favor of consumerism as a overall spiritual fulfillment. I am not in favor of consumerism on a spiritual level, but on a material level, simply a material level, it has lifted more people out of poverty than any other sort of system. So consumerist capitalist is a good system if we're talking about bringing people out of poverty. Now, what do they do when they've reached sufficiency? That's a better question. That's why I want more people to be talking about, but they don't think about that. They think more about material problems. That is a problem. But moving on. Footage taken by the OPP, I'm assuming that's the Oregon Public Broadcasting, shows protesters breaking a pair of glass doors into the Capitol in an apparent attempt to enter. I didn't watch some of this. They're breaking into the Capitol building. Don't let anyone tell you that right-wing people can't get violent the same way left-wing people can. The only difference I would say is that these right-wing people are doing property damage to the government buildings, not private property. Left-wing people hate private property. Well, I'm not going to say left-wing people hate private property. I would say left-wing extremists hate private property. Communists hate private property. These people are doing damage to government buildings because it's the government directly who are fucking with their lives. Whereas when the communists, such as Black Lives Matter and Antifa, they take to the streets and they protest, they destroy everything because they believe that capitalism, imperialism, America is ruining their lives. As someone who knows someone very personally to me that has lived in a socialist system, try being a communist in a free country. It may suck to you, but you can achieve it. Now try being free in a communist country. Doesn't go over so well. But anyways, nevertheless, damage is being done. People are fed up with these lockdown measures. And for good reason. Now, I don't have a tab pulled up to talk about this, but California, for instance, has become the epicenter of the world in terms of coronavirus cases. California has never really fully came out of their lockdown that they started back in March, or was it April? Could have been April. They never really came out. Furthermore, they've gotten more strict as time has gone on. It was something Mayor Eric Garcetti of the city, put a ban on outdoor gatherings. No, not outdoor gatherings. Outdoor dining. I saw a video that truly made me cringe to just the extreme of how out of touch these elitists and how absolutely demonic their goals are. It was a woman who ran a restaurant that was shut down by Eric Garcetti, and they were just trying their best to get by. They did the outdoor dining, and then Eric Garcetti banned the outdoor dining, with the exceptions for the film industry. So this woman, who was a business owner, a restaurant owner, walked, I think what she said, only like 2 blocks away, where they had a film set. They had catering, private catering for the film crew. How fucked up is that? The government is going to shut down your business for outdoor dining, which, by the way, no scientific evidence suggests that people are transmitting this thing en masse in outdoor gatherings or outdoor dining, especially. Mayor Eric Garcetti even explicitly said that the ban of outdoor outdoor dining is not based on science, but he's trying to get people to stay home. Why? We know that indoor gatherings is how people transmit this thing. What's the problem with people going outside? What's the weather like in Los Angeles right now? It's like something 65 and or 70 and sunny. What the fuck is the reasoning behind they can't go outside and have an outdoor dining experience? There is no reason. And you know why they know there's no reason? Because they'll make exceptions for film crews. They'll make exceptions for their special interest groups. It's fucked up. So when I'm looking at this article about these people who are finally rebelling against the Oregon lockdown measures, I only say to myself just one thing, like, how long can you expect people to put up with laws that don't make sense, that do more harm than good, and you're going to expect them to be civil? No, I fully support all the anti-lockdown protests across the country. I really do. I feel like the only reason why I don't join them is I think I lack personal courage. But these people are patriots. These people are people I respect and would buy a beer for, honestly. Because I respect them. They're doing what most Americans know deep in their heart is the right thing to do. But they're too cowardly. This sort of stuff pisses me off. Sure, they'll bring in the police to stop the anti-lockdown protests, but they'll literally let parts of Seattle and Portland get taken over by communists, and they call it, Jenny Durkin, the mayor of Seattle, she called it the Summer of Love. Meanwhile, on a per capita basis, the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone became the most violent place in the world. Summer of Love. You gotta be fucking kidding me. Sometimes these people... I mean, the only thing that keeps me going through all this is that no one takes these lockdown people seriously. And nor should you. They constantly are violating their own measures. What was it? Gavin Newsom got caught in a private dining affair, like a private party, a birthday party. There was more than 20 people from 20 households there. None of them wearing masks, all eating at a restaurant. The mayor of Austin was caught in Mexico saying do not travel as he was in Mexico for a private wedding. The mayor of Chicago going out to protest, going to her hairstylist. Nancy Pelosi going to her hairstylist. Andrew Cuomo of New York going to a Thanksgiving dinner with his mother, his something 80-year-old mother. Yeah, these people are such fucking frauds. It's amazing to me that anyone could take them seriously. How do you feel, honestly, how do you feel like you can go along with these measures when you know the people who are when the lawmakers themselves don't follow their own laws? That's how you know you're in a banana republic. That's how you know you're in a tyrannical state. These people are frauds, and that's the only word I can think to describe them. And it's one of the worst things I can call a person, because honesty matters a lot to me. You know, people shouldn't be hypocrites. People should be living by the principles that they preach and practice. Is it wrong to judge someone so harshly for not practicing what they preach? The hypocrisy, we all are hypocrites in some way or another. I, for instance, like to preach about the importance of diet and exercise. I myself will cheat my diet completely. I will skip exercises a lot. So I don't clearly practice what I preach. True, we're all hypocrites to a degree. But I think it's especially concerning when the people who are making laws and the people who are governing you are hypocrites. Because they have ways of fucking with you that are far more extreme than some guy who's online who preaches about diet, but that's not even the focal point of his own philosophy, which it's not. But anyways, like I said, there's only so much people can put up with before they won't put up with anything anymore. And I think we're seeing it across the country. Unfortunately, I haven't seen this kind of measures going on in my own state of Washington, mostly because I think Washington citizens are mostly pussies. Because Jay Inslee is clearly a fascist and deserves to be paid for what he's done. I'm seeing these measures going on in a lot of the other states, Oregon, Michigan, where they're clearly being run by tyrannical governments. And I'd have to say, I'm proud of these people. Maybe some of you are not because you're nonviolent. I don't see any violence specifically from these protests. I see property damage, which is a form of violence, but it's specifically aimed towards the Capitol building. It's specifically aimed towards government. So at least it's directed anger. Whereas you'll see some of the Black Lives Matter or Antifa protests, they'll destroy everything in their sight. Because they blame the system of American capitalism for all their problems. Which is a further debate. Honestly, I'd like to have that debate with people, but I can't find someone who is honest enough to have it. Maybe Tina. Tina is certainly left-wing. I don't fault him for it. I think left have a valuable place in society. I really do. But I've been trying further more and more to understand the moral code of the left. And I haven't quite figured it out, but I think I'm getting close. And the reason why I'm doing this is because it's actually really, really important for me. Because obviously I know how I think. I know how I judge moral decisions from immoral decisions. But for people who are on the left, obviously people who disagree with me, people who don't think like me, I'm trying to figure out what do they judge as a moral act versus an immoral act. And the closest I've come to understanding it is I think that the right is more concerned with procedure and process, and the left is more concerned with outcomes. So it is, sadly, I think the right would consider cheating immoral. That's not to say the right can't cheat, that the right can't violate their own morals. There are plenty of people do. I just think that it's a difference between outcomes and procedures, and that's interesting. Anyways, as long as there are people out there who are willing to discuss it with me, I'd love to learn more because it's something that confounds me. I don't fully understand it. But anyway, those are my thoughts for today. Hopefully you enjoyed it. For Tina and Karen, do the too. I'm Karen. Stay safe and stay hydrated, everyone. We love you.